Hey guys, so we're going to be doing the listing consultation now and going over that whole entire process. Couple things that you should know pre going into a consultation is one, you need to do every listing consultation at the house. That's at their actual residence. So you don't want to be doing it at the office or in an unknown spot unless it's an investment property that you don't need to see, or if they're an out-of-state seller or an out-of-state buyer, and or they live out of state but they're selling the house here in Arizona, and you might have to do a Zoom conference or a Zoom consultation. So keep that in mind. This presentation that we're going to do is going to be pretended to be actually at her house. Okay. The other thing to keep in mind is before you start your consultation, remember, you would have already done the tour, walking through their house, asking about the different rooms, seeing everything that's going on. So in this light, we're going to pretend we already did that. So keep that in mind. When you go to an actual house, you're going to want to walk the house with them, get a tour, see everything you need to know. That way you can have a better feel for your comps and how to present price and other things. Lastly, you do not ever want to sit at the couch, at a living room, just something casual. We're here to do business when you sign paperwork and go through a listing consultation. It always has to be done at a hard surface, at a table, kitchen table, countertop table, whatever. If they go and sit at the couch, you need to be strong and stand. Actually, can we do it over here? I just want to be able to, it's going to be easier to show you everything if we're at the kitchen table or at the countertop or whatever it is. Make sure you address that, because they're going to ask sometimes to say, yeah, let's sit on the couch, or they'll go sit down on a really comfy spot. And then you're doing the listing presentation, like sitting back, like trying to show them stuff. That's not the best way to do it. Go sit at the table, ask them if we can sit at the table, and be really direct and make that an assertive push. Don't just cave and go sit at the couch. Cool. So we're going to get started and we're going to go through the listing presentation now. Hey, Elise, how are you? Good. I just saw the whole house. It's awesome. It's everything that we chatted about before. And we're going to go through this whole listing process, and help you feel more comfortable on what to expect. So I know you told me that you were wanting to sell here in the next 60 to 90 days. Not an absolute rush, but we wanted to start the process of looking and like what your house could go for, right? And then kind of that same conditions of like where you're heading next. So are you going to be buying a house here in Arizona, or are you thinking about going out of state?
Yeah, we do want to buy in Arizona, but we kind of want to get a little outside of the city, because I know right now we're really in Gilbert.
Yeah.
And so we need a little more land and stuff like that. So we're trying to get a little outside of here.
Perfect. So when we talk about this whole game plan and going through this whole process, the mindset's really going to be how we transition you out of this house and into the next one. A big question that I would have is, do you have to sell this house first before you can buy the next one?
I do. Yeah. Okay. So we do need to sell this house before we can buy that one.
So something that I would assume is probably important to you is being able to sell this one and transition into the next one without being homeless, right?
Preferably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The goal is not to do that. So
that would be good.
I'm going to go through that process as well as share with you how we can make that transition happen. I know it's sometimes really scary to think, oh, we're going to list the house, and what happens if we sell this one and we don't have the next one yet? Because you're still looking for the next one, and if we don't have that picked out and under contract, it can be kind of tough to feel like, hey, we're going to list this one, and what happens when this one sells and we still don't know which one we're moving into. So I'm going to take you guys through all of that and make you feel a lot more comfortable about that process. We do simultaneous closes all the time where we sell and buy the same one, same day, and you make that transition.
Oh, they can do that?
Yep. And then there's also a lot of other stuff called post-possession and pre-possession, where you might be able to get into that house before it closes and or stay in this current listing after you've already closed on it, giving you a window of time to make the transition to your next house. So there's lots of stuff like that.
Okay.
As well as being able to give yourself some time so that we can have time to find the next house. And that's really, really important. When you're selling this one, a buyer is going to really need, like when you go and buy your next house, they're going to need to see that this house is under contract and everything's moving good in order to buy that one, because your next purchase is going to be contingent on you selling this one. So the only way you're going to get approved for that loan and be able to process the loan is if you close on this house in order to buy the next one. Okay. That being said, we need to make your offer as strong as possible when you buy the next one. And the best way to do that is to really have this one up on the market, actively sold and under contract. then that makes our offer way stronger for the next one you're trying to buy.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does. So that's what you mean by contingent then?
Yeah.
I have to have this one sold?
Correct. Let me paint that picture a little bit maybe differently to help you understand a little bit better.
Okay.
If we're listing your house and you're selling your house and a buyer comes to buy your house and they tell you in order to buy your house, they have to sell theirs on the other side of town. Mm-hmm. But they don't have it listed. It's not under contract. They haven't even taken photos yet, whatever the case is. They just don't even have it on the market. Mm-hmm. Are you going to feel comfortable agreeing to sell your house to them if they don't have it like that?
Okay.
Does that make sense? So we have to pretend the same thing. We have to have this house up on the market, under contract, and actively in a process of closing before when we try and write an offer on someone else's house that they feel good enough to say, okay, they're a strong buyer. I know it's contingent, but everything's moving in the right direction. Does that make sense?
That does. Cool. Okay.
Cool. So my goal of all of this is to take you through this entire process. I want you to be able to feel confident and comfortable in everything and be able to leave here with all your questions answered so you have nothing to worry about or nothing really stressing you out in the process. It seems complicated at first, but at the end of the day, it's a pretty smooth and seamless process.
Okay.
Cool?
I hope so.
Yeah. Sometimes it seems crazy, right? I mean, I know you told me you've never sold a house before, so this will be your first one. And so there's a lot of moving parts. And so that's why it's so important that we sit down, we go through all of those parts and moving processes that you feel really good about it and you know what to expect along the way.
Okay.
Cool? So that being said, let's go through a couple stuff. So obviously, probably the most important thing to you is what we can sell the house for, how much you're going to be able to take and go to the next house. So I've generated a big report. This is what we call our CMA, or sometimes agents call it comps. Okay. And it's what bases your house off of all the other ones in the area that have sold. So I know you've chatted with neighbors and you've seen all that stuff. What do you think your house is worth?
I'm thinking probably like high 4s, low 5s. I mean, I don't know.
Somewhere in there?
Yeah, I know that my neighbor sold theirs a few years ago, but the market's crazy right now, so I really don't know. I'm not a real estate agent, so.
Yeah, I completely agree. And so it's absolutely nuts out there.
Yeah.
So Michael, I'm going to show you all of these and then we can kind of make a decision on what you think we should list for based on what we're seeing. Cool? Okay. So here's the comparable market analysis. So to start out with it, I have 4 properties around your house. This is your house right there. And I got 4 other ones in the general vicinity. So keep in mind when you're running comps and you're doing a comparable market analysis, you don't want to grab houses that are way out and about or a little bit further away or different. We want to find houses that are just like your house and have all the exact similarities, at least as close as possible, because we need to sell this price to not just one person, but 2 people. And that's what's really, really key. We need to be able to sell it to the person buying the house. They have to be wanting to afford it, but we're most likely also going to have to sell it to the appraiser. That's what's really, really key. We have to make sure both people agree that this house is what it is. So the lender and the appraiser's got to agree, and then also the person buying it's got to feel comfortable making a strong offer and writing that offer. Okay? So
what happens if we find a buyer who wants to buy it for what we say, but then the appraiser comes back and says it's not worth that? Yeah, that's... We have to sell it for less? Definitely something we can run into. Okay. I'm going to take you through this, and then after we go through a few of those steps, I'll explain that entire appraisal process so you feel really comfortable and okay, here's our options. Okay, cool. Make sense? Okay, so we'll come back to that in a sec. So here's the 4 that we have that we pulled up. Obviously yours is here. Here's the square footage of yours and all of that. So we're going to start with yours. We can see all of it. It's the 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,900 square feet in Gilbert. It's a nice house. It's beautiful, by the way. We just walked all the way through it. So that's tried, and now we're selling it. Yeah, that makes it fun. So obviously, that's going to help us when selling it. Some things aren't going to necessarily increase our price, but they're going to help us sell it quicker. So for instance, leaving the appliances and things like that, you can leave the fridge, the washer, the dryer. That's not going to increase your price per se. However, if someone else's house that is also selling it at the same time and it's similar to yours has appliances and theirs doesn't, the buyer might lean towards yours first because of the fact it has all these little extras or bonuses. That's what we mean by
yours might sell faster and more efficiently, but not necessarily for more. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Cool. So we're going to go through it to compare. So keep in mind, so this one's yours, and here's a few of the other ones. So this one sold at 500 grand even. It was on the market for 5 days. It closed, and it was listed at 475, but then it actually went over list price at 500. So that's good news.
Okay.
This also happened a few months back. So this was 3 months ago, like you can see. And again, the market's moved a little bit. And this one was really nice. But it didn't have a pool like yours does. Okay. So these are some of the things we want to look at, is like those light characteristics and what that movement looks like.
Well, and it looks like it's a smaller square foot, right? So does that make a difference?
Just a tiny bit.
Okay.
So this is 1,780. Yours is a little over 1,800. Okay. So it's not going to make a ton of a difference. Okay. The biggest thing that does make a difference is theirs is 4-bedroom and yours is only 3. So like those are things to think about. That's how we balance out the price a little bit. Okay. So that was one of them. We have another one here that sold a little sooner. It was only 2 months ago, and they listed it at 415, and then they ended up selling over list price also. Like you talked about, market's crazy, and they sold in 3 days. And they went
525.
It's listed at 515 and sold at 525. Wow. So that's good. So then you're starting to see some of those comps. This one is the same square footage as yours, so you know it's exactly your model match. And it has a pool just like yours, and it sold really quickly. So I think yours is, you can see, like we can go to the other side and you can see some of the photos of it. Mm-hmm. If you want, I can even pull it up on my laptop if you want to look at it. Okay. But characteristics wise, it was probably similar to yours, maybe a little less than yours. Okay. There's definitely some things, like you have a little nicer kitchen. I think your master bedroom's a little bit nicer overall. Yeah. But other than that, the house itself is fairly the same. Cool. Okay. And then we have this third one to look at as well that I really, really liked. And this one actually was listed at 450, and this was actually on the market right now, but it's under contract. It went under contract in 3 days. They listed it at 450. So we don't exactly know what it's under contract for, but the good news is them listing at 450 and getting an offer in 3 days. You can pretty much assume they're really close to that, if not over. So it's great news.
Did they list it lower than the 500 to try to drive up pricing, or?
Oh, I'm sorry. I completely read this wrong. Oh my goodness, okay. 550. Okay. Sorry. So it was listed at 550, and it went under contract. It's under contract currently. So we don't know if it's at 550 or more.
Oh, okay. So we can't see that. That's why it's not
Yes,
there.
That's why it's not there. Okay. So essentially, it got listed at 550K, and they sold it in 3 days. And obviously, they're moving quick. So in essence, we know that if it's all these three sold that fast, then your house is going to have a strong market for what it is. And this is what we see in this market. Okay. Being in the 5s or less, like it's fast. Houses are moving very quickly for that. So we know, especially if your house looks as nice as it is, we want to price it and be strategic with where to price it, because it's really, really important to move it quickly, and we'll get a bidding war and we'll get more people coming in and being competitive in the process. So it makes it important.
Do you think, so like if our house sells that fast, like do you think we'll be able to find a house that quickly, or if it's competitive? I mean, that's a little stressful.
Yeah, what do you sells think? 3 days, right? So that's a great question. Okay. So a couple things to keep in mind is that your market is moving really quick. Arizona is moving very, very fast. But once you go under contract, let's say we list it and it goes in contract 3 days. Mm-hmm. Well, that escrow process still takes time for the house to close. So some of the things to think about in that process, they're going to schedule an inspection with you. Mm-hmm. And then that inspection is going to last 10 days. They're going to look at everything in the house. So they're going to see if there's anything major that's wrong with it, roof, AC, all of those things. And if they're going to get an opportunity to ask for us to fix some things. Now, in this market, you're not required to necessarily repair everything that they ask for. You can say no to a lot of the stuff. And if we have an offer in 3 days, they're not going to be asking for a ton of stuff. If not, we're going to push back and we're going to say, hey, no, we might fix stuff like termites or things that are really essential. Yeah. But like if they're asking for little cosmetic things or little stuff to be fixed, we're just going to say no to that because of the market. We have tons of other backup offers that we could use if it sells this quick and moves this quick. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense.
If we get one offer on the house and the market's in a different spot, then you might be more willing to work with the buyers and actually get a lot of the little stuff fixed. But in this situation, we can be a little more aggressive.
Okay.
So that's under contract at the 550, like we were saying. We don't know what it's going to sell for. I'm going to call the listing agent and see if I can get what their actual sale price is.
Okay.
But this is going to be a great comp for us because, again, it's just like yours in almost every way. In fact, you have a little bit of an advantage because yours is on the corner and it has a little bit bigger lot than theirs. So those are little things that could help and push.
Does this one have a pool too?
Yeah, it has a pool as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of where you're seeing all of those things line up and kind of map out. But again, that's what it is right now. So by the time you want to list your house, we're going to be able to move it that way. Now, to talk about giving yourself enough time to be able to find the next one. What's really cool about it, when we have a strong offer and we're getting multiple offers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, a couple things. One, we need time to be able to find the next house. So we need our close of escrow date to be out like 60 days. So instead of only having 30 days to find your next house, I'm going to try and push it out 45 to 60. And buyers are going to be more flexible because they want your house. They're competing against all these people. So we're going to find the buyer that is going to be flexible and still give us our price. That's going to be our stronger buyer because they're going to give you more time to be able to find the next one.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
And then also what we'll try and do is have them give you post-possession time in your house on that offer as well. So you'll have a couple. So that means that they'll be buying your house, but they'll let you stay in it for 14 days or so. So that you have time to move into your next one.
Oh, cool.
That way everything will be really smooth. We can close on your next purchase and you'll have a few days to move in and make that process versus moving truck at your house one night, move in the next day and so forth.
Okay, cool.
Now, in a tougher market where we don't have multiple offers, that might be really tough or we might have to look at other options. If the buyers can't and we still want to take their offer and they can't give us post-possession, then we're going to be doing a lot of that prep work that last week of closing to get all the stuff packed up, moved, and ready. And then the day you close, you're going to want to get that in the truck, move it over to the next house, and then move into the next one all on the same day.
Okay.
So that could be a little more stressful. That's why we're going to push to do the 14-day post-possession or 7-day post-possession.
Okay, cool.
Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. So based on what we see here with comps and what all this looks like, what do you think the house is worth?
Well, I mean, this one's most recent. I'd like to get $550 out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've seen these. I'm thinking in the fives, honestly.
Okay.
Probably would be where I would start. I mean, I don't want to do too high and then not have anybody like interested in the house, but I don't want to do too low and have like 40 people trying to buy a house. That'll just stress me out. Exactly.
And I think you're right on page. And there's a couple things that I want to keep in mind. So this house will probably sell for a little over $550. Okay. But there's a couple things we want to do. If we price it really accurately and aggressively, we're going to create more of a bidding frenzy and it's going to bring more offers to the table and let us get a higher at the end of the day price. I think that if we're in that general ballpark, we're going to get multiple offers and I can help drive that price up and have them compete against each other, and then we can hopefully get over list price offers. Now, we're gonna judge the market based on how our showing's doing. So if we're getting offers right away, then we're priced great and we can drive the price.
Okay.
If after a week or two, we're not getting any offers, then we know we might be a little bit high or something might be going on and so forth. So that way we can adjust the price and accordingly and figure out what we need to do to get it actually sold.
Okay.
At the end of the day, I think we're right in range with that one.
Okay. So, and then when it comes to like showing our house and stuff, do we have to just like always have it open? Or, I mean, I've never sold a house before, but it's going to be stressful. Like, always having to have it perfectly clean and the kids and the dogs. And
And so
how does that work?
I'm going to go through that with you as well as we go through the process. However, I do try and make it a little bit easier on you guys. My goal is to try and sell it in one weekend. So you have some stressful days, but it's only done like for a couple days and you're not out there for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Okay, cool.
That's also what makes pricing so important because if we price it right, it sells quickly and you might get an amazing offer. Well, let's say we go live on Thursday, you get an amazing offer Thursday night, first showing, and you're like, you know what? I don't care. I don't want to do any showings this weekend. Like, let's take it.
Okay.
That might be the case. Okay. But there's also options of where if we push it out through the whole weekend, we might be able to compete with people and push the price even higher. So it really just has to depend on your comfortability on showing the house and how that process is working. Okay. But I'll go through it with you in just a second.
Cool.
Cool. So I think that We could probably list it higher. We could probably list 555, 560. But what I usually recommend is that we use the rule of 25s. Okay, so all the searches and all the stuff online, people look for houses online now. Mm-hmm. What they're doing is when you look for houses, do you search 555 and up or 565 and up or lower? No. Most of the time, the searches all work in ranges of 25. Oh, okay. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So by pricing it right on an even 25 mark, mm-hmm. you'll also get all the people below and above, and it gets us a really good range and it won't overstep our bounds. The other thing is I like to say I don't allow Walmart pricing in real estate either. So you see those listings out there? Yeah, it's funny. And
you're talking about the rollback pricing?
All of them. Okay. And what's even worse is like you'll see those listings out there and they're priced, let's say we want to list it at $550, and I think that's probably where we should be. But let's say some agents will be like, okay, let's really sell them and drop it down a couple dollars and look like we got to sell. $549.9, $900. Like, it looks better. Yes, and if you're going to Walmart and you're trying to buy a toothbrush, then $1.99 looks better than $2. But when you're talking about a house, someone sees $499.9, they're still saying it's $500K, like whether you look at it or not. What you also do is you could hurt yourself, because what if someone was searching every house 500 and above? Yeah. If you price the house at $499, $900, then your house doesn't show up in the 500 and above house search. So you just lost potentially all the higher end buyers that are looking for 500 and above. Yeah. Or 550 and above, or whatever it is in our situation. So that's why the rule of 25s and even the rule of hundreds is so important when you're pricing the house. Okay. So my personal opinion is I say we copy them and come right in. There's no other active listings on the market. We could come in and list right at 550 and give you the strongest push towards what you want for the house, and then try and compete and jack the price way up and really compete against each other and make them give you a little bit stronger offer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
That being said, let's look at a little bit what you're going to net, because that's super important as well. I know you talked about wanting to take a big down payment and put it in the next one. You said you owed $350 on the house, right? Yeah. Or about. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a net sheet so that you can kind of see what we're sitting at. So if you do, let's see, $550,000. And let's see here. Let me make sure we're on the right side. Okay, so we sell it. Let's be conservative and say we sell it for exactly what we list for, not above list price or not. So everything above that will be gravy, right? Okay. So we'll do it right at 550. We're also going to put everything in here, all your closing costs, property taxes, our commissions, everything, so that you can see truly what you'll walk away with and net. And then.
So.
Yep.
What are the closing costs? Are we going to go over that?
Yeah, we're going to go over all of that stuff with you as well. And this will show all of it. Really, you have title fees. You'll have the real estate commissions for all the sales and everything. You'll also have prorated property taxes, potentially prorated HOA fees, everything involved in that process that you pay for. So roughly, though, your closing costs for this, like just the closing costs, not the commission based and all that stuff, is like around 1% or so. But we'll go in depth with what it looks like. So when we compute it, let's see here. Let's go back. Let's reset. Okay. So we're going to do 550 sell. And then we're going to have this. And then you said your loan balance is about $350, right?
Yeah, we owe about $350.
Okay, so let's do that and see what you're going to walk away with. Okay. Okay, so right now, if we sold it at $550 and you owe $350, you'd be walking away with about $154,000 net after all the closing costs and everything like that.
Okay.
Cool. So like that would be something that you're going to be able to transition and everything into the next house and be able to do.
Wow, $43,000 in closing costs?
Yeah. The higher the house goes, the more expensive it gets. Ooh, okay. And it starts to climb. But again, title fees, the real estate commissions, all of that stuff adds on.
So how much is the real estate commissions? How does that work?
I'm going to go over it all with you, and we'll go through that package so that you feel, because we have multiple options as well to help you go through all those processes.
Okay.
Cool. So does that sound about right? And that net amount would be about what you were looking for? I know originally you were talking about the house selling for around 525 or 500.
Yeah. So if it sells more, I think that's fine.
Yeah. Perfect. So let's go through this then. So then that's good. So then we're looking at that price. Let's go into the next thing. So to actually go over the actual process and what this looks like.
Okay.
So what we like to do is we get the house all ready. We always go live on Thursdays because that gives you single days on market. It shows like a low digit on the actual online and on the market for 2 straight weekends if we needed to. So it keeps things really simple. So we always want to go live on a Thursday. We'll want to schedule photos out a little bit so that you're prepped and ready and what that looks like. And I'll give you pointers. We'll go around the house again afterwards and I'll talk about some of the things that you can do. Some of the key ones that you can always think about is you want to brighten up the whole house. Open up every window when you're ready for photos. A bright house makes the whole house look better. It makes everything more efficient.
Okay.
The other thing you want to do is declutter. So if you have anything sitting on tables that doesn't need to be there and you're in the kitchen, just remove all the kitchen items like that you can that's sitting on. Like if you have a toaster there, put it underneath the cabinet. If you have just random things sitting out and about, try and minimize it to where it's just small decoration items and that's it. Okay. That makes the kitchen feel bigger and open, but that goes for everything in the entire house. So if you're in the living room, the coffee tables, minimize. That declutter will help buyers feel like they can insert themselves into the house. That'll make them feel more at home. And then lastly is clean. So cleaning is really important. I would recommend I'd hire a cleaner, or we'll talk about in our package where we already include a cleaner for you, which is kind of nice. And we can deep clean the house and go through that whole process with you.
Okay.
Cool. So we'll go through this and go through all your options. I also have an iBuyer purchase contract for you as well, which is really cool. So as you know, that there's tons of iBuyers out there, Open Door, OfferBad, Zillow. Yeah, so that's what they call iBuyers. It means they're large investment companies that are trying to present offers to you. You might have got some stuff in the mail or things like that. Mm-hmm. But the cool part is you can work with an agent like us and we'll actually bring the best one to you. And I actually brought one to you on your behalf already. Mm-hmm. So my goal is to show you we're a one-stop shop. So whether you want to sell to an iBuyer, whether you want to list it on the open market, or if you want to look at other opportunities, you can do any of those, and we're here to help you get the most out of your house.
Oh, that's cool.
Makes sense?
Yeah.
That way you don't have to be missing options. I want you to have all of it through us.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you the iBuyer real quick before we go in it too, because we talked about price. They can basically just hand you an offer, and that's what they're going to do. So in this situation, this iBuyer is offering you a cash closed immediately out of pocket. They're going to offer you a price of $545, so a little less than what we're thinking about listing for. Mm-hmm. But keep in mind, they all have those closing costs too. So they're charging their own fees and their own stuff. So they're charging 5.5% here, plus commissions and everything like that, just on that side as well. This is a great option if you want the ease of being able to move or stay in your house longer time. You can do that and take this one. In what we're looking at price-wise, you might net just a tiny bit less, but what you're paying for is the convenience. Because if you go this route, you'll be able to stay in your house longer. You have options to stay. I think their recent option was you can stay in the house from 3 to 6 months after you close. So you'll have time to find the next one and be able to do that whole process and not feel like you're under the weather with that.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that makes the convenience side of it, but in essence, sometimes you pay for convenience and that's not always the best route. We're going to make it really convenient for the listing process also, so you can choose or. So as you can see here, your net was $154,000 with the way we did it at $550. Mm-hmm. This net is going to be $148,000. So a little bit less. This still may be the best option for what you're trying to do and percentage wise. Okay. But if we do competitive offers and we do multiple offers on the situation, then, do you have someone at the door?
Sorry, 1 second.
Sorry.
Oh, perfect. Amazon.
Sorry about that.
Amazon, right?
We love the packages.
Oh, hey, I'm with you. I get Amazon every day, all the time.
Yeah, I got my husband a new humidor for his birthday.
Hey.
Cigars. I know. He's excited.
Well, now I know what to get you guys for a closing gift.
Cigars and wine for me.
Okay, red or white?
White.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Always white.
The alcoholic apple juice is what we call it.
There we go. Yep.
Okay. I'm with you.
Yep. A little sweet.
Awesome. So to kind of share with this again, so remember this would be your net. So after everything, all the fees and stuff, they're going to be giving you 148 cash. So you may look at this and talk it over with your husband a little bit and think, maybe we take this one, but you don't have to choose this today. So this is something you're going to keep and we'll think about, and then we can decide like which route you would want to go. So if you start to get to the process and you're like, I don't want to list this house, I don't want to deal with all that stress, and I just want to sell it to the cash buyer, that's an option too, and we can help you process all that, and you'll just be a little more flexible.
Cool. Okay.
Now, if we sell your house for way over $550 and we start to get higher offer, then it might not just be $7,000 more, it might be $10,000, $15,000, and that might start to question like, okay, it's worth a weekend of stress for a way higher net. Make sense? Okay. So it really just becomes on what's most important to you.
Okay.
So we go live on Thursdays. We do the photos and everything pre that. Be right before we go live. We'll put it online. We'll put all the information in, and then you can review the listing and make sure everything looks good. And then we go live on the open market. Now, when that happens, there's a couple things you got to keep in mind. So we have something called showing time. It's where we put those little lock boxes on your house, and that's through the company that is associated with all real estate agents. So now agents are going to be able to access that lockbox and enter your house based on appointments that they schedule that you confirm or deny. So I set it up with you. So they're going to submit requests to see the house. So once it's on the market, if we have a hot listing with it, they're going to be requesting it left and right like crazy. So it's going to be up to you to say, hey, this time works, this time works, this time works, right?
Cool. Okay.
Now, we're going to go on the Thursday. My recommendation is if you start getting a ton of showings, you don't really want to be at the house to do any of the showings. Let's look at it this way. If you're going to go and buy your house and you're walking through trying to see if that house works for you, but the seller is just sitting there in the living room or overlooking your shoulder, you start to feel a little uncomfortable a little bit. My goal is to not help you do that to the next buyers. So what I would do is grab your kids, grab the dog, go to the park for a few hours, whatever, go out, grab food, go to a movie, whatever that looks like. Go do that. And if it's a weekend, maybe you go do something all day. Go to it's fall time, maybe go to the pumpkin patch and do something all day with them. Yeah. But that allows a lot of buyers to line up and get through the house all together. And then you don't have to feel like you're leaving, coming back, leaving, and doing that. Does that make sense?
It does.
So that's part of that process. Once we've had all those showings, then we're going to start receiving offers. And I'm going to break down every offer, kind of like the net sheet I did for you a little earlier. And we're going to see exactly what house or what offer nets you the most. And I'm going to start talking to you about strategy and all these other things that we're going to do when it comes to how do we push this price higher? How do we make this offer better for your move? So all those things start to happen. Okay. And then that's kind of where we take you through those final stages of the process. Once we choose the right one, we'll go under contract with that house. And from that point on, we can now start writing offers on the house you're going to purchase and make that process really smooth and easy, okay? And that process will be what we call our escrow process. And like I said, they're going to do an inspection. Within 10 days, they're going to come and inspect everything. You're going to want to get out of the house for that, let the inspector go through everything. They're going to make their requests and repairs and ask what that is. Well, once we negotiate that side of it and get past that process, the only thing really holding you back from the sale of the house is the appraisal. So just like when you bought a house, appraiser comes out and appraises the house. Now you're on the flip side of that coin now. Okay. So their appraiser is going to come out and appraise the house, and we have to hope that we're getting what we're being offered for the appraisal. Now, good news is we have a lot of really good comps like I showed you. So an appraiser is going to take those into effect and say, hey, we have that other house at $550. It's selling. It's going to be a good chance we'll be able to get at least that appraisal. Plus we have some time on our side. Now, it's my job to help provide them with comps as well and really help push that price. I don't see that being any issue, but there is a chance that the house doesn't appraise for what the offer is. Let me give you a scenario. So if the buyers come in and they offer $560, let's say we push them way up, even $565, and we get way over what they're asking for. Well, let's say the house appraises at $555. When we're doing the offer negotiation process, in order to make buyers stand out even better, we're going to ask them to waive the appraisal costs. We're going to go through that whole process. And that would be something where that would be awesome, because then you don't have to worry about the appraisal in that process, and the buyers buying your house are just going to be able to come in right at that price. Okay. The other option is we can ask them to pay a certain dollar amount over appraisal, so they'll waive their contingency. So if the house doesn't appraise, if the buyer has a really big down payment, they might be like, I don't care, we want the house. And we'll put that in the contract that they're willing to come in over the appraisal amount if it doesn't appraise.
Oh, okay.
So those are two really good ways to protect you. Now, worst case scenario, if you choose a buyer's offer that doesn't waive the appraisal and doesn't have that situation, if the house doesn't appraise, it's up to us to negotiate another term on price. Either we may have to come down in our price to what the appraised value is. They may still want to come up and still give us the difference, or they could just cancel the contract. So that's where we would go to a backup offer and so forth. So knowing what we know, we want to take the best offer that, one, we either think can appraise easily, or a buyer that's willing to come in with excess so that we don't have to worry about the appraisal situation.
Okay.
But that's where you leave it to me. I'll take you through that process when we get there. I'll compare all the offers to you, and it'll make you feel a little bit more comfortable when we get there.
Cool.
Make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Awesome. So that's basically the listing process. Once we get through that appraisal window, then we're clear to close, and we're going to be on track to close on time. And then the goal is you'll have to be out by the time we record. So if we record in the afternoon, you're going to have to be out by then. Okay. But like we talked about, if I do that, yeah, I know. If we do that post-possession and we scale it out to where you can stay a few extra days and make that move, it's also going to make it really easy for you. So we can record, close, you can take your time, you can pack, and it'll be a really easy, seamless switch into your next house. Cool. So that's the goal. Cool?
Cool.
All right, so that's good. Do you have any questions about the price or the iBuyer offer or any of that stuff, or the listing process as a whole?
I don't think so right now. Are we going to look at the different marketing things?
Yeah, I'm going to show you the packages and show you that process as well, and that's going to help you.
Does this include like the fees though? Because I do want to know like what all that $45,000.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yep, it goes through all of it. So here's the whole package and everything that's in here. This is really talking about what's important when you choose the right agent. So one of the cool things about our team, we're one of the top teams in the entire state. We're on track to sell over 600 plus houses this year alone. We have an entire team that supports us, and you're going to hear from a transaction coordinator and the whole process to help you move your team along the way. It's much different than when you're using just an individual agent. You're using a company that's built and ready to help you sell your house at the absolute highest. And with a large team like this, we also have a lot of buyers that are attached to other agents on our team that may end up already having the buyer, and we might be able to sell your house off market to a great buyer and have a way higher than list price offer also. Cool?
But are you still going to be like my point of contact?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, all the way through the process, I'm your point of contact. The main thing is that they're going to be helping with all the other stuff like paperwork and just helping you get the listing up and live, and you'll have conversations with them just making sure the listing looks good and everything's active.
Oh, okay.
Cool?
Yeah.
All right, so this talks a little bit about our resume. Again, we're the top real producer team. We've won the award 2 years in a row now. We're several 40 under 40 winners 3 years in a row, and we're one of the best of Zillow as well as one of our partners. So you see a lot of Zillow out there as well. We're one of the top teams in the state and one of the top teams in the country. So you're getting a lot of that. We believe in systems and a lot of the stuff that goes along with that. So again, on average, we're netting our clients 2% higher than the average agent in the industry. So that alone covers any costs and anything that is involved in that. And it's because of our marketing packages that we help net that much more. So that's kind of why we do what we do. So to kind of give you the marketing packages, we have 3 packages from you to choose from. They're at 6%, 7%, and 8% commission. And it's based on what type of package and how we really need to do. Now, for your package, usually with the 8%ers, I would recommend, this is something where if we're doing something over $1 million, where we need to do really extensive stuff like full Matterport, we need to do drone footage of a large property. We have to do pre-inspections and a lot of other things go involved in that. We do listing marketing videos where we market it out to, all over the country, and we do a personalized listing. I don't necessarily think you need to pay that for this one because it's not over $1 million. This is usually like our luxury package. Now, the Premier package is right in the middle. That's usually what I recommend because it's going to hit all the things that you really need to help you net. Now it's 1% more than our base package. However, like I said, this is the package that helps us get 2% more overall in the market. So at the end of the day, by paying a tiny bit extra, you're also getting a lot more. But at the end of the day, what we're looking at is also, this is the package that I quoted you for your net. So the net that you saw was including this package already, which is awesome. Okay. So if you wanted to save a little extra, we can always do the 6%, but that gives you the option. You already saw kind of what we needed a net for the 7% one. Does that make sense?
It does. Now, so on this commission though, like, let's say I didn't want to pick anything out of here. Is there a discount for that? Like, can I do less than 6%, or is that?
The 6% is our standard. That's like our base package. So, like I said, we're going to be helping you net way more than the average agent out there. So there's tons of agents out there that what we like to call discount agents, where they're going to reduce their commission. But to kind of give you a little bit different perspective, they desperately need the business. So they're willing to do it for less, and they're willing to take less. Now, when it comes to the presenting you all these offers and helping you negotiate the highest and best offer for your home, something to think about is an agent that's willing to take their own commission less. How aggressive do you think they're going to be able to offer, negotiate between the offers in the actual marketplace? Are they going to be willing to settle for something less because it's easy or simple, or they need the business? The difference with us is, yes, we may charge just a tiny bit more than what they do. And at the end of the day, they might do 5.5% or 5% or do a little bit less. But buyers and sellers see that. And what ends up happening is I guarantee you that I'm going to help you net 2% more, which is going to be way more than what it's going to take to make up the difference between what they're going to offer in a discount package.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah,
that's true, actually.
So this is the package that I recommend. And again, we're going to do a lot more for your house. So you get to take 2 off the base options and also one of the premiums, which is really cool for this package. So like we talked about, if you want help, we can do the deep house cleaning for you and take your whole house. We'll clean it. We pay for that package. This package or that house cleaning costs hundreds of dollars to do. So that's part of how we work it into the commission. It's like, we're not going to let you. The other option is we could do something cheaper and you do it yourself, but then you're paying for that stuff up front, whereas this comes after you sell the house and saves you a lot of money.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
And then for the base options, we're going to be able to do 2 of those. And in all reality, I could probably talk to our sales manager, but I could see us doing all 3 if you want, if you choose the middle package. Okay. That way that you're able to get a little bit more bang for your buck also.
Yeah, cool? That would be cool.
Awesome. Yeah. And that's also, remember, the package that we already netted you. So that's, again, you're making 154 at the 550 base. My goal is to sell it for way more than that and help you push. Okay. And then that 155 turns into 165 and so forth.
Okay.
Cool. Cool. And then again, I'll let you look into a lot of this stuff. You get to stay with, but this is going to give you a lot of those other things. Okay. And we'll be able to go from there. Cool?
Okay.
All right. And then this is some house preparation tips. So this is like some do's and don'ts of what you want to do in the house, things that you can do to help make your house more ready to sell and do different things as well.
Okay.
But again, it'll take forever for us to go all the way through all this stuff with you one by one. Yeah. But if you have questions on this list, call me and we'll go through it with you as well.
Okay.
Cool? Awesome. So that's this. Do you have any questions on the marketing package and what that looks like?
No, that's cool. I'll look through it later and then I'll just let you know if I have questions.
Okay, awesome. So the only other thing that we have left to do is paperwork. Do you have any other, I know, some of this I'm leaving with you.
Oh, okay.
It's not all signing. It's more of like disclosures. I'm going to go through it with you a little bit. Okay. But do you have...
asking for like blood and children? And
urine, actually.
You can have my 3rd child.
We can throw that in. I'll take 1% off, no. So in essence, a lot of the stuff I leave with you, they're more like disclosures and things like that. So really the paperwork we actually have to sign and go through is only a little bit.
Okay, cool.
Do you have any other questions about the whole process and package before we get started?
No, I don't think so, actually. Like, you explained a lot of it to me, which I appreciate. So, okay, yeah.
Cool. You feel good?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So let's get started then. This first page is what we call our real estate agency disclosure. Okay. So the agency disclosure, it goes over the fact that I am licensed by the state of Arizona and that I'm able to represent you as a seller.
Okay.
Cool. So I just need your signature right down there.
Okay. Sorry, I got to turn it.
Perfect. Okay. We'll put this over here. So the next part, so if you see this, the next part is going to be your exclusive right to sell. So this is what the actual listing contract is, to go over everything involved in the listing process. So we're going to hold this for a second real quick. This is what we call our profile sheets. This goes over everything that's in the house. Now, because you bought the house and it was already on the listing market, I'm going to be able to fill all this stuff out for you so you don't have to sit here and go through all of it. It's all like odds and ends stuff as well, but because it was already listed, I'm going to be able to take care of it. I'm just going to need your initials at the bottom of this for the owner initials, but you can just kind of go through them. Perfect. And then one there and one there. So as you can see, it's all blank. It's all like options like fireplace and things like that and what you have and what type of flooring. It can be, as you can see, pretty crazy.
Wow,
so
there's a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah, there's a lot to put on the listing when we market it. So and then I see your signature there.
I do have a question though.
Yeah.
What has to stay? Like my chandelier over there, can that come with me, or like what are the rules on that?
Great question. So anything actually attached to the house, and when we say attached, we mean physically like screwed in, attached, that has to stay. That's called a fixture. So that could include wall mounts for TVs, not the TV themselves, but the actual wall mount has to stay. Chandeliers is a big one that a lot of people ask. Security systems has to stay, as well as just in general, blinds and curtains would have to stay as well.
Too?
Yeah.
Oh,
so that doesn't mean they have to stay in the essence if we put it in the contract that you want to keep them. So if you have a really like special chandelier, so if that chandelier is something that's like a family heirloom and you want to take, we would put that in the contract to say chandelier doesn't convey. And then you can take it with you.
Okay.
But we just have to make sure we put that in the contract. Make sense?
Okay, cool.
Let's see here.
And then will you send me a copy of all this after it's done?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll take you through all of it and we'll go through it as well. We don't need lead-based paint because it's after 1978. And then lastly, so this is what we call our residential seller disclosure advisory, or what we like to call SPUDS. This is another weird, funny name for it. It sounds like potatoes, but hey, what it is. We're not in Idaho, but we still call it SPUDS. Anyways, this is what I'm going to leave with you. So this is a long list of a bunch of questions that they're going to ask you about your house. This is really, really important to answer 100% honest. If you think it should be on here, you should put it on here. That's the easiest way to describe it. It's asking a lot of stuff as, have you ever had a fire? Has there ever been flooding? Did you ever make any repairs or do any damage? Like, it's asking everything that the future buyers would need to know in order to feel comfortable moving to the house.
Okay.
Keep this in mind. If you know something and you don't put it on here and you do it on purpose, they can come after you after the fact and say, hey, you knew this and you didn't put it on there. So this is why it's really important. Put everything on there that you possibly know. The other thing is if they find something through an inspection that you didn't put on here, they're going to wonder to themselves, well, what else didn't they tell us?
Yeah.
So it's better to fully disclose up front. Disclosure is always better than discovery. That's what I always say. And so if you have something where there's water damage and the sink leaked and there's a little water damage in the ground, tell them. They're not even going to freak out about it. They'll be calm about it because you actually shared that with them here. Okay? So go through it. It's a bunch of yes, no questions.
Well, I was going to say, like, what if I don't know? Because we've only been in this house for a few years.
Yeah. If you don't know, leave it blank.
Okay.
Don't click yes or no. And then on the other side of it, if you have something you don't understand, give me a call and I can help you through it.
Okay.
But most of the time it's pretty self-explanatory and it's just going to take some time. So after you fill this out, you can either scan it into me or you can come back and, or I'll come back and I'll grab it from you.
Okay,
Cool. So keep in mind that these initials at the bottom, they're for the buyer. So don't do that. Sometimes I have people all the time initial the bottoms. The only thing I need after you fill this whole thing out is on the last page, there is a spot for you to sign right here.
Oh, seller signature.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So that's going to be the only thing that you need. Cool. And I'm going to leave this with you with this and this. So you have everything here. I'll put this in your folder for you.
Oh, look, I get a fancy little folder.
And so forth. So last but not least, we just have the listing paperwork to go through, the fun stuff, and then we'll be all squared away, okay? So as you can see here, I already have this all pre-filled out for you. So this is you guys selling the house. This is our brokerage right here, my agent's name here, and then this is my team leader as well. So the team leader's on every file so that we can keep them all together and share them with the team. So that's who they are. Here's all your property information. So this is everything. And again, some of this stuff I'm going to be able to fill out and go through.
Okay.
And then we have this marked to be able to actually sell the house.
Okay, cool.
Now, we talked about the price. Obviously, I've left this part blank because I wanted to be able to talk with you about it and see what you wanted to be. Are we still good with that 550 mark that we talked about and really push and negotiate higher?
Yeah, no, I think 550 is great.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to put 550K there. Sweet. Now, I just need your initial in that bottom side there. Perfect. All right, and then this next section is for the commission. Now, again, we talked about that middle package. Does that middle package work for you?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, perfect.
And then you'll let me know if we can do like the drone and the floor plan. And then I want to do the cleaning, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So we'll do all of those things for you. And I'll talk to them if we can throw in that bonus extra one as well. Cool?
That would be cool.
And then I just need, so there's that. And then I just need your initial here at the bottom. Cool, perfect. And then I just need, and this is going to be going over all your fixtures and personal property. So this is what we talked about is, do you have the chandelier and want to keep that?
Yeah, I really do.
Okay, so here, I'll put this right here under additional existing property, which may be included, which is going to be not included in the sale. So that I'm going to put it under that section. Fixtures not included. So the chandelier, and then is there anything else in the house that you were thinking that was like that?
Well, yeah, so I have the curtain rod in the master.
Okay.
That wood one. My son actually carved that. So
oh, dang. Okay. So curtain rod in master carved wood. Okay. Perfect.
Other than that, I think what about the washer and dryer?
That's what I was going to get to next. So are you okay with leaving the fridge, washer, dryer?
I'm okay with leaving all the appliances, but I actually would like to take the washer and dryer.
Okay.
Because we did just buy them.
So we're going to include fridge, but we're going to leave washer and dryer blank. So we just have to make sure that when we write the offer and we're looking at all that stuff, that we do not allow them to put that in there. They might try and put washer, dryer, fridge in the sale. And we'll just remove it and we'll make sure that the offer, I'll take care of that for you, okay?
Cool, okay.
And then you have no solar on the house, right?
No.
Do you have a water softener on the house?
No.
Okay, so then we're good there. We don't have to worry about it. Oh, sorry, I almost didn't have your initial. Okay, just need your initial there.
Cool.
Perfect. The next one is that, again, we have the authority to put it online. Like we want to put your listing everywhere, so we need to be able to do that. This also says we're going to accept backup offers to make your offers even stronger and good there. Okay. And then that we can put a sign in the yard and that we can do the photos and videos and put that on the MLS.
Cool. Okay.
Which is our service. And then lastly, that we can put the lockbox on the house so that the agents will have access. Cool?
Okay. Does everyone get the code for that? I don't know.
No, they have to actually submit a request and then actually confirm the appointment. If someone tries to enter your house and they don't have a registered appointment through you, that's technically a felony. There's trespassing.
Good. That makes me feel better. Yeah. I don't like just the code.
Yeah, so you're going to be able to say accept and deny, and we'll make the parameters really specific to what you want. Okay. But you get to say yes and no. Again, if someone comes in and you've forgotten about an appointment, it happens all the time, either just say, hey, sorry, we can't show it right now, I'm so sorry, or let them show, maybe step outside real quickly with your kids and your dog and just hang out and let them go through the house.
We might go hang out up north, actually.
Sweet. That'll make it so much easier for you. Okay, so a couple things to remember. You have to keep power, utilities, insurance, everything on the property until it completely closes.
Cool.
Okay? So you can't turn any of that stuff off. They have to be able to inspect. Same with gas, same with everything like that.
Okay, cool.
Lastly, this is just, let's see here. Oh, I just need your initials here, that you own it. And then there's no additional terms other than the co-lister will be our team leader as well. So cool. Just need your initials there. Perfect. Lastly, I just need your final signature right here at the bottom. Okay. Perfect. Okay. That is all I have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this back to my office. I'll make copies for you. I'll send it back and so forth. These are all the ones that I got to take as well. And then I left with you the spuds, the potatoes, to be able to fill out. So again, we'll take you through this and go from here. Now, do you have any other questions?
No.
Okay.
Get her done.
Awesome. Excited. So now let's look at one last thing real quick because I want to get our timeline scheduled out with what we're going to expect to do your timeline for the photos and listing it all. Okay. So I know you're thinking about moving over the next 30, 60 days, but again, if our escrow is going to be that long anyways, we're probably right in the frame of mind to get this thing going, right?
Honestly, it's just whenever we can find a house for us. That's kind of a big...
Good. So then we probably should get everything prepped and ready on this house because then what'll happen is when you start to see some of those houses out there that you want to write an offer on, we can make it like a light switch. We can just turn this listing on, get an offer quickly, and get it under contract. Cool. Okay. So here's the schedule. So I'm looking at would next Thursday work to go live? It gives us about 8 days or so.
Yeah, I can do that. You guys will have cleaners come out before then, right?
Yeah, we'll schedule all of that for you and put it all together. So then our goal would be is that we would schedule photos like Tuesday and Wednesday. We can also schedule it one more week out and do the next Thursday. But then we'll probably plan on then, we'll do photos and cleaners next week then. And then we can go live the weekend after. Would that work better for you?
Yeah, let's do that. Okay. So that way I can also plan a trip up north. Because trying to do that in a few days. Yeah.
I'm with you. So then we'll shoot to go live on the 11th.
Perfect.
And then that gives us 2 weeks to get everything set up and started. Perfect, yes. I'll let you know when we schedule the photos, but we'll try and target the photos to be like the 3rd or the 4th. So giving us a week ahead and make sure everything's prepped and ready.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Does that work?
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. I'll have that put down for you. The only other thing that I would love to say is, hey, I hope that we absolutely crush this and we do really well for you. But again, we do work 100% on word of mouth. Like that's so big. And so my goal is to absolutely crush this for you and get you everything you'd want in hopes that you'd be able to share with your friends and family that our services. Would that be cool with you?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Awesome. So I'm probably going to...
As long as you crush it.
No, guaranteed.
Otherwise,
we're going to crush this thing.
Inheriting me, 3 kids, and 2 dogs, and my husband.
I got a spare bedroom. We're going to make this work, okay? No, we're excited.
No, but that would be awesome, actually, if you have cards.
Absolutely.
You could lay with me.
I have cards that I'll give you on the way out. And then also, if you run into contact with anyone thinking to either buy or sell, what's even better is if you send me their name and number and I can reach out to them and give them the same type of service we give you.
Oh.
Cool?
I can do that.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been awesome, Elise, and I'm excited to help you guys get this house sold.
Yay!